Hello, good afternoon. Okay, so I am going to be in front of the camera. I'm going to do this as best as I can. The only other way I could do it is, well, now that I have a tripod, I could actually show it, but I'm not making them anytime soon. So you're just going to have to deal with how I have this set up for right now. So this is going to be a video, kind of like a video response, kind of like I've had several people actually ask me how I dip my beads. Well, I've already said what products I use. I've already said how many times I do them. And it's, sometimes it gets a bit frustrating that I have to repeat myself. And I don't like to repeat myself all the time. But you know what? It could be somebody's first time video. So I use 3 coats of PC Petrifier, and then 1 coat of polyacrylic. Polyacrylic is like a really thick, it's really thick, so I only like to just put 1 coat on. But you know, you can mix and match or do whatever works best for you. If you like painting them on individually, that's fine. Whatever method works best for you. When I first started paper beading, I was looking up, well, okay, I've got all these beads. What do I do with them? So I was looking up other people's videos on how to varnish them, and everybody's doing them with little wood, you know, with toothpicks. And I tried that method with painting them on myself, but I was like, this sucks. First of all, I suck at painting. So that was going to not be a method for me. So then I saw paperbeadscrafts.com. I forget what her channel name is, Paper Bead Crafts, I think. Anyway, I haven't watched her channel in a while. I haven't really watched much of anybody paper beading because that's not what I watch anymore. But anyway, she made these long strings, and she dipped her stuff in her varnishes, and I was like, I want to do that. I said, that looks cooler. So, and then I was like, well, she uses like jewelry beading material, and I don't have that because I don't know how to jewelry bead. So my best bet to come up with was fishing string, fishing line, whatever you can get. It doesn't matter because, first of all, we are not fishing. We are just making paper beads, and no paper bead is ever going to weigh more than a fish. So get whatever test or pound line you want. I went with, I don't even honestly remember. I just went with one that is green colored. I would show you the spool, but I have it in a box. And but anyway, this is the second one that I've used. I actually had a spool of clear stuff, but as many of you know, I have medical issues with my eyes. So anything that will allow me to see better, I will do. And I can see this better than I can see clear. So I opted to get, here, just as reference here. So this line, fishing line, is yellow or green, yellow, fluorescent green, fluorescent yellow. You pick one of those colors is what it is. But you can do clear if you want. It does not matter. You know, it's your thing, your craft. You make it however. Sorry, my Fitbit keeps going off. So it's like, what's going on? I think it's telling me I got to go do my steps yet. So anyway, I picked just fishing line. All I did was when my husband and I went to Fleet Farm, which is a outdoor enthusiast kind of place. I don't know how to describe it beyond that. I just know it as Fleet Farm, as my dad would call it, the man's mall. Like, you can find anything there. Like, because he's a hunter and a fisher, and you know, he likes all that stuff. But anyway, and they have apparel and boots, and you know, farmers go there for, you know, farming clothes, and you know, anyway, enough about that. But so anyway, I went to Fleet Farm and I got that. And then I also bought some sinkers. Sinkers are these things. Well, mine are all full of varnish stuff. But anyway, fishermen use them to weigh down their string so it doesn't just float in the current like this, you know. They come in all sorts of sizes to really small. I just got the little ones that you pinch on your line. So this is what I use. Your length can depend on your what you have for set up for your dipping box, for your drying rack is what I guess is what I call it. And I have shown mine. I think I might have even did a video showing how I made it. I think, or not how I made it, because like I said, I don't have a tripod, so now I do, but I didn't then, and so I would only just hold it in my hand and just show progress as I went. And anyway, so you have your string, so your products that you're going to need, or at least the method that works for me. If you have jewelry beading materials, do like those little crimp things, like what's her name? Julie, I think that's her name, from Paper Beads Crafts. She uses little crimp bead things. I don't have any jewelry beading material. I don't own the little clamp. I don't own the little. I keep wanting to call them vice grips, but they're not. I don't own the little needle nose pliers and things like that. I don't own any of that stuff. I just use my for hard tools. The only thing I use is my husband's really old Leatherman. It's got everything I need on it. So anyway, all right, so this video is going to be long. I hope I'm going to describe stuff well, but anyway, okay, so you have a loop at the top. That's what this is. So you started out with X amount of string. So that depends on how big your box is, right? From where your sticks are. For me, I had a bunch of old, well, not old, but I had a bunch of chopsticks just laying around in my junk drawer in my kitchen. And I was like, well, you know what? I was already going through my junk drawer and I was just going to throw them out anyway. And so I ended up just sticking those on and using 10 of those, which would hold, I don't remember how many I put in there. I think it only puts 3 per row. So I'd have 30 of these strings. So anyway, the length so it sits on your string, your whatever you have to, like for me, it was my chopstick was my finger, right? Whatever you end up using, as your rack holder, go from there, and you want to leave about, this much room on the bottom, and, just because you do. You don't want this dragging on the ground. So, and all of this is usable space. Oh, and I forgot, I also use a bead. These are just, white beads, just plastic beads. All I did was went to Joann Fabric, and they had a little container about this big full of mixed beads. And this white bead here happened to be the most common in that little pack that I bought for like $5 or something. It was a jar about nay big. It had all sorts of sized beads in there. Or not, am I calling them beads? Buttons. Yeah, these are buttons. Anyway, I just bought, and it has all sorts of sized buttons in there, but the majority of the pack that I bought had like this size. I used the 2-hole one, but I suppose you could use the method with a 4-hole, but 2-hole worked better for me, but it doesn't really matter. This is like what, anyway, I don't know. I don't know the science behind it. So, all right, so this is what I ended up with, and this is the length I needed for my thing. So they're kind of small. I don't know. I didn't really measure them when I was doing it. But this is the second iteration of the paper bead, or my string thing. So this is the second one. I do have a video out there where I show that I'm making these, and a lady had made kind of a nasty comment on there saying, I'm a visual learner and you weren't showing very well on how to do it. And again, I did not have a tripod back then, so I could not show how I actually made them. So I'm going to try to do this. I'm not the best artist either. So, all right. So I have a, let's see, this will work maybe. Just to keep it so you can't see from behind. I didn't even think about the lighting. Here, I'll just have to just put my hand behind there. All right, so let's see. This will work. I'll use my cutting board to keep the light from going through. It's just an old piece of paper. So what I've got drawn here is, I'm going to try to do this as best as possible. Actually, you know what? I'm going to move to my table to show this better so I have more light for you to see. And, but I'm going to combine this all into one video. I just wanted to show you this because I needed two hands to do this. So I'm going to try my best to show you how I end up getting this is one long loop, right? There's no, I can go all the way to the bottom of the bead with just my finger. So that helps you understand. So I'm gonna try to show you how I make this part here in that drawing. Since I don't have to make these, and I'm not pulling all these apart. This is gonna take me at least 3 hours to pull all these apart. For those who don't know, I ended up, I had to move all my paper beading stuff off my table for Easter this year because I had because I had family over, and at that point I had said, I'm gonna make myself a new drying rack because my other one, I didn't design very well. So like the sticks, if I had heavier paper beads, like I was making very chunky beads about that big. They were about that big, and those ones got really heavy because they really absorbed the my varnish stuff, and so they would get heavy. So my chopsticks, I didn't have them in any specific type of thing, so they were just taped down. So with heavier beads, they would bend like this, and it just messed up my whole thing. So I'm kind of in the process of remaking a new varnish, a new dipping rack. So anyway, all right, so I'm gonna get to showing you the paper here. So okay, see you in a second. Bye. Hello. Okay, so I've got you here on my tripod. So hopefully you can kind of see. You'll just have to deal with this one shadowing here. All right, so like I was describing before, this is all one long, so you have to figure out how much you need by this. This is where your top will be. You will not be cutting any of this. Once you make this, this is not how you will not be cutting these. So you start out with your one long strip, and you'll need a bead. I prefer to use the one, I don't know why I drew that. Don't look at that. I prefer to use a, let's see if I can do this with, all right. So I drew, I like to use the ones that only have the 2 holes. Then, my goodness, I drew some, you're gonna need some sinkers. So anyway, alrighty, so let's see if I can do this. All right, so then you have your one long one here. Then you want to position your there we go. I guess I can't. All right, so I guess you can imagine the top part. So because I have this kind of close, so it's not going to show the whole paper, I guess. Anyway, all right, so then you want to put this kind of close down here, and you want to have it positioned up and down. You see how mine is positioned up and down. So of course it's sideways right now because I'm holding it sideways, but imagine this was up like that And see, it's up and down. So you do want to have your holes positioned up and down. So what you want to do is, like I said, I'm not the best at drawing. So try to understand what I'm showing here. And all right, so you have your loop. So then you take one end and you go through your hole, this top hole, and you keep your button positioned where you want it. You take this other end and you go through the same hole. So now you have both of your ends going through the top hole like this. And then you want to keep it positioned. Then you want to take this, you know, this was this side, but now is this side's string. And you want to go through the bottom hole. I didn't have enough room to show you, so I just kind of drew it down here. So you want to take and continue with your thing and pretend that your bead is really big now. So actually, if you want to pretend, you can pretend that this X here and this X here are the holes for your giant bead, you know, your giant button. So you want to go through the top one and take it through the bottom hole. So now that you come back through, and you want to do the same thing with the other side. Is you want to, of course, you know, this one will go through here and go through there. So then your other one will go like that and go through the same hole again. So now you should be able to slide this. Well, I can't. Actually, I don't know if I can or can't. I don't really want to because it's really glued. You know, it's plastic down. So anyway, what you want to do after you get to this part is it'll be all, yeah, like I said, drawing sucks apparently for me. So then you want to tie off at the bottom. You want to be careful because your button will slide around on you. So you want to tie it off, but you don't want to tie it off short because I have learned that I had to weigh down my end with some sinkers, and and 3 worked great for me. I do not remember what size sinkers these are, but you can use whatever you want. If you want to use one big one, use one big one. If you use one big one, though, you might want to tie your string around there. But all right, so you want to make sure that you leave enough room for your tail. There is a knot here, but you don't need to worry about tying it too tight. You just don't want to, because the way that this is designed, it's meant, you can slide it around, the button I'm talking about. So when you put the knot down here, you're making it so it cannot go any further down if you put any type of pressure, which can possibly happen. So then you want to take your sinkers and you just want to pull these two together, make your strings, you know, as one. Then you want to, so these sinkers, you should be able to, here, let's see if I can show it. I'm not going to open it, but if you squish on, okay, so here's where the mouth is. So they are like this, and then they do have this, these two parts here. So if you squish down on here, you will open the mouth. So, and of course that works to, you know, close it as well. So, well, actually, I used my husband's Leatherman. I don't have it sitting here, otherwise I'd show it to you. I have it sitting in its location. So I just used a Leatherman to pinch the top closed. You can just use your fingers, but if you're going to be making like 10 of these or 30 of them like I was in the one night, you know, you just want to just use a tool. That way you don't have to, you know, hurt your hand over time doing that over and over and over. And I put 3 on there. You can put as many as you want, but remember how many ever long that is, because you also have to leave room so it does hang. And just in case you want it to hang of good, you want to at least be able to put your hand underneath it. That's just a good measurement. So keep that in mind when you do your measurements. You will also need measurement for your bead or your button, plus however long you're going to leave your tail, because you will see, this is a good example. So they will continue dripping, and it will leave a tail like that. Eventually, sometimes you'll have to snap that off. And what helps a lot is you'll have to clean this part of your string so it's movable like this. And with doing this method of dipping, you will also have to clean your strings. They will get gunky. These ones actually are pretty good, but I don't know if you can tell, but there is, if I run my nail across here, I do feel stuff on here. So I have ruined many nails by just going like this and running my fingers like that, and I end up with, see there, I got some on my hand. I don't know if my phone is bringing it. Yeah, you can see it. Anyway, so you do have to pick this stuff off every couple batches of paper beads that you do, but it is a little bit of maintenance for doing a huge batch of paper beads varnishing. And I haven't had too much issue with my beads getting clogged, though the bottom one down here does get clogged near the end. Usually, as I have shown many times how I do that, is I take a paper clip, or not, yeah, like a paper, not paper clip. Is that the right word for the little twisty metal thing? And I just unwind one end of it, and I poke it through the hole, and it usually pokes that clogged stuff out. And if you're worried about that now not having any varnish on it, I don't know. I've always worried about that, but it's like, well, I can worry about everything in life, or I can just say, well, the outside looks good. So you do have to worry about that occasionally. But instead of, I just figured I would address this issue with this nice lady is, having issues with her beads, and and I just did this sitting on my, I'm sitting at my spot at the table where I would eat, and you said you were disabled, so you if you needed to, you could put out your wheelchair here instead, and work, or if you're fortunate enough to have a crafting room. I don't have a crafting room yet. My kids are still in high school. Actually, one's about to move out, but I don't know if I'm going to make that my craft room or not yet. But anyway, I just put it off to the side over, you can't see my hand, over there, within reach. But do keep in mind, if you do keep it in your kitchen, don't do it around supper time, because people don't like the smell of your, dipping process. They don't like, PC petrifier does have a smell, and so does the polyacrylic, but they don't smell as bad as, here, I'll actually show you the stuff that I used once and would never use again, but I was going to use this outside. Do not use this. Do not buy this. This actually works really well. I did make some beads with it, and they are friggin' hard as stone, but this stuff reeks. Do not use this stuff in your house. If you bought this at your hardware store like I did, because I didn't want to, that was my second buying, was I used up my bottle 16 fluid ounces of PC petrifier, and then I was like, I just wanted to do something, but do not use this inside your house. This stuff stinks. Like, no, just leave this for the wood project. This does work really well on paper beads, but it also does take like a week and a half to fully cure. But once it does cure, these suckers are hard as rock. But this is meant more for not what we're using it for. So do not, if you bought this, do not use this. Not that this product does not, works great. It just is not a product for paper bead crafting. But it does work really well, but the fumes make it not usable. And I do live in Minnesota, and I only have 6 to 7, depending on 8 maybe months out of the year where I can actually do stuff outside where it's above freezing. Usually it's 6 to 7 months. So I'm hoping that this is going to be one very long video, but this is a video that, like I said, not the lady that I'm talking about, that there was one lady who commented when I had made these ones the second time on my channel. She had commented how crappy of a tutorial it was because I wasn't describing it well enough for her, and I felt bad because first of all, I tried, and second of all, I kind of was also like, well, screw you. You could have asked, you could have said it much nicer. So this video is more of in a response for the lady that commented more recently on my pumpkin videos. So I'm hoping this does describe and helps you understand, helps you with your paper beading, because for me, paper beading when I first started was my way of helping myself stay sober from stopping drinking, because I'm an alcoholic. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and this is what I do when I feel stressed and need to bead. Now I just do it as, it's enjoyment now, but when I first started it, that's what I did it for. It was my escape, my new escape, learning how to do outlets. So I hope this helped. I know, I'm sorry, my drawings really suck, and I really hope I described this well enough. But if you can think of a better way to do this, like I said, I spent a night, I went to bed and I just sat there. I was like, how could I make this work? Because like I said, the paperbeadscrafts.com lady, Julie, I believe, she uses jewelry, crimping thingies or whatever, and then she snips them after every use. And I wanted to have something that I could use multiple times. But if you have another idea that you can use that isn't like this, because I'll be honest, this right here, I'm dreading having to try to pull all these apart. So when I eventually get my new bead varnish thingy made, I don't know if I'll be using these ones again. I may pull them apart and use these beads, or I keep calling these beads, these buttons, but I had bought a big enough pack. Did I say I bought the sinkers as well from Fleet Farm? So I bought the fishing string, fishing line, and the sinkers in the same area, and they were in a big bag. I would tell you the number, but I don't remember what the number of size these were. Sorry. But you can get a gist on how big that is. There's my small finger. There's my thumb. I have tiny hands, but I have pretty average hands for a woman, I think. So, yeah. Anyway, but okay, I'm going to end because this is really long, and I hope this really helped. And if not, I'm sorry. I don't know how else to do it better other than to actually just make one on camera sometime. But if you follow doing this here, where you go in one, in the other hole, and just do it like that. Pretend like this is the big button here, and these are these two are the holes for the button. Like I said, I can't draw, so all right. Anyway, okay, I hope that helped. All right, bye.